Good afternoon. We appreciate everyone being here today for our August 17th regular meeting. And we'll call the meeting to order. I've asked Commissioner Sharon Langford to lead us in the prayer and Commissioner Tommy Langford to lead us in the flag. If you'll please stand.
Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day that you've given us, Lord. We thank you for all the blessings you've also given us. We ask, Lord, that you be with those who are sick at this time, those that are suffering, and just, Lord, just help comfort and wrap your arms around those who have lost loved ones. We ask that you be with our leaders, our first responders, and just help look after those and help protect them. Lord, we ask that you forgive us from where we have failed you. We ask that you be with us today as we go about our meeting. Help us make the right decision for Gilchrist County. Lord, we thank you for everything. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Address the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Again, we'd like to welcome each one of you here today and appreciate you being here and look forward to your participation. As far as the agenda, any agenda changes at this point?
Yes, we do. We have Jessica with Ag Extension that's going to be presenting the rodeo arena proposal. And if we could move that to after the SHIP, the LHAP changes.
Okay, after the SHIP
Yes, sir.
agenda item. All right. Anything else from anyone? Nope.
None today, sir.
Okay.
Motion to approve the agenda with the change.
Okay, get a motion?
Second.
And a second to approve the agenda as revised. All those in favor of the change, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Everyone had an opportunity to look at the consent agenda. Any questions related to that or comments?
Motion to approve.
Okay, get a motion to approve the consent agenda. A second?
Second.
And a second. Any other discussion? Not seeing any. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. All right, we come to the first opportunity for the public to participate. If you've got an item that's not on our agenda, we would welcome you to come now or at the end of the meeting. If it is on the agenda, we'd ask that you just wait till that item comes up. And when you come up, you'll have 3 minutes to bring up your issue. So anybody here would like to do that at this point? Yes, sir. Come on up. Come on up and tell us your name, and for the record, we're recording.
My name's Kent Levitt. Lived here all my life. Most everybody's familiar with me. I'm here because I had to write it down here. On June 20th of 23, my place flooded out there. And I spoke with all the commissioners at that time, and they referred me to Bobby Crosby. And I dealt with Bobby for till August 5th of 2024 when my place flooded again. When Helene come, I think it was Helene, I'm not familiar with the storm. And then he could get people out there and the engineers and stuff and checked it out and promised me there was going to be a culvert put in the road if I'd just wait till the road was paved. And there now they're paving the road. No culvert's going to be put in. I just feel like the can's been kicked down the road on this thing. You know, nobody's taking care of it. Now Bobby's retired or whatever it is, and you know, nothing's been done at my place. I mean, I don't know if you're aware of it, but it ruined my house. It messed up my business. It's cost me, I guarantee you, $100,000 plus. And I just want to know what's going to be done about it.
Okay. Now, I appreciate you coming, and I talked to you earlier, and I don't know, maybe you've talked to the other commissioners, and what I suggested is that I would follow up, and maybe the others would follow up with our engineer, and we'll get back with you on what basically at this point we know, and see what we can do to help you.
I spoke with Tammy, and I was under the assumption the engineer was going to be here that could answer his questions.
Yeah, he's here, but I'm just saying now's not the time to discuss
Understand
all
that,
that,
but,
I
I
think.
mean, we're gonna put a time frame on this? I
Yeah,
mean,
this week.
We're 3+ years into
This week, we'll follow up with you, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, now's not the time to get into all that, I don't think. We got lots on the agenda. We don't, your issue's important, and we're
I
gonna follow
understand
up
that.
with
I
you.
mean, but like I say, I just feel like the ball's been dropped on here. I mean, and it has. So,
Yeah. I appreciate you coming, and you're reaching out, and you're concerned, and we're gonna follow up with you.
We do have some answers.
Yeah.
Yeah, the engineer does know about it, they're looking at it, and we'll get with you this real quick. We're not gonna push this down the road, it's gonna be, I can't promise you this week, but it'll be quick.
well, I will tell you right now that they're
I know,
paving
they're-
out there, replacing the culverts, and they made all the
Now's the
culverts
time to do it.
there. You can't even get in and out of my shop now because they made the culverts on there.
Okay.
That's gonna have to be redone, so that's just gonna be more money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for coming, Mr. Lovett. We
Yes,
appreciate you
appreciate
being
it.
here. Anybody else? Okay, well, we'll move on to the, and you'll have another opportunity at the end of the meeting if you want to come forward. Any constitutional officers here that would like to speak at this point? Not seeing anybody. So we'll move on to the county administrator part of the agenda, and we have Ms. Moore going to help us do that. So-
Okay. The first thing that we have is the LHAP changes. Stephanie Barrington and Matt Pearson are here to present that.
Thank you. My name is Matt Pearson, and
Welcome, Matt. We appreciate you being here.
Thank you. Happy to be here. We've been working with the SHIP program now for maybe 12, 15 years, and I'm unaware of any major issues, but I know Mr. Langford sits on our board, that if there's ever a problem, feel free to call myself. That's Stephanie in the back, and so she her and I together kind of run it a little bit, and hope we are meeting your expectations every single day. The reason we're here today is local housing assistance plan changes are going to be required on the county. Throughout the state of Florida, affordable housing has become a major issue as places we can't find police officers, place to live, deputies, school teachers due to the cost of housing. So mobile homes have become more and more prevalent in SHIP programs throughout the years. When the SHIP program was created in the early 1990s, mobile homes were not allowed into the SHIP program. Then a few years ago it was added in, but you couldn't do mobile homes older than 1994. And even by then, we can only spend 20% of our allocation toward mobile homes. And Gilchrist only gets $350,000, so that's only $70,000 we can spend toward mobile homes, period. So Gilchrist kind of never went down the path of allowing mobile homes in. We were spending the money elsewhere and helping plenty of families. In the most recent legislative session, a couple rules have to be added into the program, some of which will never affect Gilchrist County. One of those being if a mobile home park was to be closed. So in some parts of the state, you have these mobile home parks, developers coming in, buy them, all the people have to move out, and they turn around in big, huge subdivisions, et cetera there. We have to have a plan in place if there's a mobile home closure in Gilchrist County that we can help those families relocate their mobile home onto another lot. In some cases, they may own the mobile home and not the land, et cetera. Highly unlikely that was to happen in Gilchrist County. However, one rule that will come into effect is we have to allow in our plan for a provision to repair mobile homes, and that's never been allowed in Gilchrist County. The caveat is we're not required to fund it, we just have to have it in our plan to be able to do so, which in turn puts you guys as county commissioners in an uncomfortable spot, because if it's allowed to be done and you say no, and then someone needs a new roof on a mobile home, well, why does my neighbor get one and I don't? So we kind of did some brainstorming and talked to other rural communities like Gilchrist County, and we come up with a plan to kind of help alleviate the problem. And it's what we would like to recommend. Of course, this is the county commission, it's your local housing assistance. We just work for you guys, and we'll administer it any way you'd like for us to. But we would like to see the county consider adding mobile homes in to the repair side of it, and also on the down payment side, so we can help families buy mobile homes. We would recommend not helping families buy mobile homes that are older than 10 years old. We don't want to be investing in older mobile homes. With the cost of housing going up and interest rates staying higher and higher, it's just become really challenging for working class families, school teachers, EMS workers, that kind of stuff, to go out and buy a house. So that kind of gives them an opportunity to do so. So kind of in summary, we've got to make some changes to the plan. We've come up with what we think is a fair option for the county to consider is to allow mobile homes. For the record, can't get anything older than 1994, we can't even repair. That's before Hurricane Andrew, those mobile homes were built to a different standard. So mobile homes will be allowed to be repaired. No 20% maximum that we can spend. All the money to go toward mobile homes probably will not, but it could. And then allow for us to help families to buy mobile homes not being more than 10 years old. And that number would move as time moves along. So this is 2026, after 2016 or newer, next year 2017. That 10-year window kind of goes along with us to keep us from investing in homes that would not be safe and affordable and livable in the near future. So if you have any questions for me, I'd be happy to answer those.
Anybody got questions for Matt?
No, I think that's a good idea. I like the idea of not doing older than 10-year homes, because then you get into investing in things that could really get expensive too.
Yeah.
And continue to be expensive.
But it would be a case-by-case situation.
When you guys put it in the plan to go 10 years or newer, that's
That's the way it's going to be.
the way we're going to stick to it. Of course, you guys always have the power to go in and revise a plan, but it would be a resolution to do that. We would not have the power to kind of pick and choose based on what this family can't afford. A mobile home that's 7 years old, they can afford one that's 18 years old. We don't have. We're going to follow the guidelines of the plan you guys put in place, and we think this is sort of a fair plan to kind of help all those in need here in Gilchrist County.
Yeah, you got to be consistent. Other counties,
Identical to
It
this.
is.
Everybody's kind of on board with this, and
Yeah.
if mobile homes, again, everybody, if you had a choice, you may pick, one or the other, but home prices, 7% interest rates is really a challenge to get young families or families period into homes at this point.
I know ever since y'all took over, it's run smooth.
Yes,
Thank
it
you,
does.
sir. That means a lot to us. It really is. Our staff, and including Stephanie, it's a challenge every day. So we're really proud to hear that. Thank you, sir, for saying that.
we
Y'all do a
do.
very good job. Very good job.
We appreciate it very much. So do we have a motion to approve the
Actually, there's a resolution.
resolution? I'm sorry. Yeah.
I move to vote on resolution 2026-15.
I think we need to read it for the record.
Okay.
2026-15 is a resolution of the Gilchrist County Board of County Commissioners revising the language in the 2025 through 2028 SHIP Local Housing Assistance Plan. And that's reading by title only.
Thank you, Mr. Lang. Okay. We got a motion by Mr. Martin and a second by Ms. Langford. Any other questions or comments? Not all those in favor? Well, we need to get public input. Thank you, sir. Anybody from the public want to comment related to this? Not seeing anybody. So we've got a motion and a second to approve the resolution related to revising the SHIP agreement. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. So thank you, sir, very much.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Matt, do you need to take that with you, that resolution, or did you want that just
If it's going to
forwarded?
be signed, and then we can get it in the mail to us, we'll follow up via email.
Thank you.
Matt, you were a football player at one time?
A long time
I
ago.
think you were.
Yeah.
Was that a Gators or?
Yeah. Gators. I also got whipped up there at Trenton High School.
Oh, you did?
When I played for the Hornets and Mayo. So I see the sheriff out there. He can probably rough me up a couple times.
Yeah.
There's a whole list of people that beat me up in Trenton.
Thank you for being here.
Thank y'all.
Thank you, Stephanie, too.
Thank y'all.
All right, Ms. Moore.
And next, we have Emergency Management, Ralph Smith. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot Jessica. We're going to have Jessica present.
Welcome, Jessica. Thank you for
Thank you.
being here and all your work.
Thank you. Jessica Cooper, Gilchrist County Extension Office. Glad to be here today. I'm here to talk to you about the Ag Complex. For the last few months, I've been working with Mr. Crosby to pilot a management program through our office for the Ag Complex. It's a pretty natural fit, seeing as we're the Agriculture Extension Office, that the doings of that department would fall underneath the Extension Department. So we've been piloting the fee structure that had previously been put in place in 2014. I believe is the last time it was updated. I met with Mr. Duke last week. And there was also an update in 2016. So we've been operating using what was previously voted upon, and we see the need for some changes before it formally is potentially moved under our department. Some of those are going to be just some slight increases in rental fees just because things have gone up over time. And we would also like to make some improvements on the facility over time. There is a pretty extensive list of safety needs for the facility in order for it to be usable for several different events, from equestrian events to livestock events to just civic events in general. So we've updated the fee structure some. I would also like to make sure to state that we would like to see more local use of the arena. So we have changed the fee structure slightly to where people can come in and school horses on arena open days is what we would call it. And they could basically sign up to use the arena hourly as long as they have $1 million policy, just like we require from all other renters. So we would not inquire or acquire any insurance or liability rates. That would be on the people who are utilizing the arena space. The deposit has also increased just because the cost of cleanup would change. If the renter does not clean up, it would cost us more than $100, which is what it originally was, in order to clean the facility. And then there are some additional services listed. If you go to the next page in the proposal, Caitlin, there's some items in the proposal that are just procedural and also just some agreements for leasers. So children and animals being supervised, the check-in arrangements, the check-out arrangements. Right now, no overnight lodging for people or animals would be allowed because the exterior fence needs to be completely redone in order for it to be safe for overnight housing for animals. It also has some cleanup requirements as well as the other list of updates. And then we've been meeting with the Swanee Valley Rec League. As you all know, they are in huge need of additional space. And we would like to utilize the open greenfield space for SVL to utilize as well. So we would set up the fields and they would be required to fulfill their end of the bargain, which would basically just be keeping up on the cleanliness and also moving the trash receptacles so it could easily be mowed. We would continue the agreement that we currently have with the Gilchrist County Riders Association for them to maintenance the footing and keep up with that in the arena because it is very specialized to keep play safe for horses for recreational and performance events, which is what it's been used for. So we're going to leave that to the expert who's been maintaining the footing. And then all of the exterior, we would pick up some of the maintenance through the county, and SBL would also be responsible for keeping up with their maintenance, moving their goals out of the way, all of that. But that would, I think, alleviate some major concerns in the county for safety at the SBL field as well. So we would truly like to partner with them and with other civic organizations to be able to utilize it more in the county. But this fee structure has got to be changed slightly, so that's why you see the updates there to make sure it's feasible for all parties and we're able to gain some revenue for improvements as well. Be more self-sustaining. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have. I know that you need time to review the proposal, so I just want to make sure to put it in front of you and give you the opportunity to ask any questions.
Yeah,
You have a special rate I see for school events where they can just pay the $250 and that covers everything, the use of being able to use the concession stand, the restrooms and all that?
So there's currently not a concession stand because it is in need of so many updates. We would recommend that they bring in a food vendor of some type, like a food truck or something. But yes, and the reason why we went with philanthropic events versus 501c3s only is so often in our community we see a family in need and people want to rally and do an event to support them. Great example is like Ezra Smith. We did a rib sale for them last year. We would like to be able to host events like that without them having a 501c3 if it's considered a charitable event, but it would still cost just to meet the needs for basic bills. We want to make sure that we can be sustainable.
All right, when I was an ag teacher and we gifted the arena to the county, one of the things is that the FFA could use it for 1 or 2 events a year for free?
That is correct. It's one event per FFA chapter per year, and we would honor that agreement as well.
Okay. I just
So
want to
they
make
would
sure
be-
that agreement is still understood and that they're not going to have to pay the $250 if they're an FFA group.
They are not, but they will be responsible for the deposit because
Right.
it's going to cost
And
us
cleaning
additional
up and those types of things,
Yes,
not
sir.
just come in and make a mess and leave. They
Yes,
would be
sir.
responsible for doing their part, but they won't be charged okay.
Yes, sir.
And I'm happy with that.
It's a gentleman's agreement, and we will honor it.
Bobby also told me that he had applied for an up to $3 million grant, and that money could be used to upgrade the rodeo arena, the concession stand,
Yes, sir.
whatever the complex, out throughout there. So I don't know where we at on that, but if it comes through, that would
So
be.
we had a legislative grant as well that we applied for last year through appropriations. It made it all the way to the governor's desk. Caitlin and Bobby and I all worked on it, and it did get the line item veto. We will continue to seek out grant funding for that space for recreational reasons and for ag and promotional reasons as well. So that way it can continue to benefit the community, and hopefully those grants will offset any cost to the county. But I've researched about 12 other facilities across the state of Florida to do cost comparisons and things like that, privately owned and publicly owned facilities, and the fee structure that you see in front of you is very fair for what we're able to offer. We don't have a lot of the amenities that some of these other arenas are able to offer, but we certainly want to see it used more. There's a lot of potential out there, and it's currently just it's sitting, but it is immaculate. The gentleman that is with the Riders Association keeps up with the mowing and dragging and screening fields, and the footing is incredible. So he has done an excellent job, and we will continue to work with him and then work to make improvements as a county for grant funding.
I have no problem with Swanee Valley League using it either.
I know, Jessica, we talked a couple of weeks ago, and you just mentioned you've done a lot of research. You're very thorough in looking at what other areas are charging. I don't know, how's the board feel? You want to think about this, or you want to go ahead and approve it? Do we need a motion to approve this?
I think what we probably need, and Jessica, correct me if I'm wrong, is we probably need an interlocal agreement with the Ag Extension Department between board and your department.
So no, sir, because it won't be affiliated with the university at all. It will still be an operation of the county. It will just be overseen by Ag Extension. It will not be affiliated with UF whatsoever.
So you're giving us a gratuity as far as leasing, managing it, booking it, and all that kind of stuff. You're
Yes,
going to
sir.
manage it.
Well, and
We've been through that, trying to book
Yes, sir.
events, and it's been kind of
And
hard.
our staff in our office are county staff in full, so it would be one of the responsibilities of their job would be to manage some of these with us and help with the additional staffing as needed.
So the other thought we talked about was you've got advisory committees with Extension, and so you're thinking about the advisory committee helping you with this?
So yes, in some ways, I've spoken to several different equestrians in the community to see how they would like to use the facility, and we would likely kind of make a small committee group specifically for use of the rodeo arena versus using the traditional Extension Advisory Committee. We will seek out community input for sure.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, is making sure that we get input from those that have used it in the past, and I know you're working hard to do that, and so it sounds like we're going to do that, continue to do that.
Yes, sir.
So what's the pleasure of the board? You want to, Mr. Lang?
Yeah, you can do that. She and I went over all these rules, and I'm comfortable with the
Okay.
rules there.
So we don't need an interlocal agreement?
It sounds like the county it will be the county function. She's just helping as the extension agent in the extension office.
Since they're located adjacent to it, it's a
Right.
lot more convenient for them to oversee the project.
I've looked over it. I'll make a motion, we accept it. I think it's a good proposal, and she's certainly done the research on it. So it can't be out of line, and as far as the rules and regulation and policing it and keeping it up, she's got that pretty well covered. So, and like I said, I don't have no problem with the league using it, so
Okay.
I'll make a motion that we
I'll second it.
accept.
Got a motion and a second to approve the proposal that Ms. Jessica has submitted. All those in favor of that motion, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
This has probably been answered, but I was going to ask Todd, and that might be where he's going with this too, as far as a line item for the funds that are collected. Are those coming right back into the clerk, the comptroller for the board?
Right, the funds would come to finance, yes, sir. But what I was going to say is we're going to need to amend the policy. These rates would need to be incorporated into the county policy.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So that would need to be brought back.
Okay. We'll work on that.
Thank you for your hard work.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah,
Thank you,
thank
Jessica.
you for everything.
And next is Ralph Smith.
Welcome, Ralph.
Good afternoon, Board. Ralph Smith, Director of Emergency Management. The first item I have is customer agreements with Wilson Gas. This is to service the towers for our radio equipment. I believe it's Heart Springs. I don't remember exactly the two other ones, but it's three of our tower locations. So I think it's Heart Springs, Caitlin, can you go back to the other one?
This is for a backup
Yeah,
generators
so this is
at
for our
those.
backup generators. It's Heart Springs, the Bell Tower, and I'm almost positive it's the Southeast Tower.
Okay,
So it's just agreements we have to have signed for Wilson Gas by the board.
okay. Anybody got questions?
Motion to approve the agreement.
Motion? And a second to approve the agreement with Wilson Gas for the backup generators for the towers that we have. Any other questions? No? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Okay, next, we're talking about generators.
Yes, sir. So the second one is going to be a hazard mitigation grant that we applied for, y'all approved a couple of meetings ago for the total cost was $191,000 of the grants.
100% grant covered.
100%
Between
grant
state
covered.
and federal funding. I reached out to TaylorMade, which is state contract pricing. I got a price for two 70 kW generators. They come back into $156,000. That is with a $7,000 delivery fee that we could cut off if the board decided to and let one of us staff members go pick it up. But that's completely up to you guys.
Where is it, you
It's
said?
in Mississippi.
Mississippi.
So
Okay.
we do have a gooseneck trailer available. We do have a truck that can pull it, and I believe we can do it cheaper than $7,000. So that's however the board wants to do that. I mean, I prefer not to spend the $7,000 for delivery when we can go get it way cheaper.
Yeah, I think so. I think I'd rather
Okay.
go get it if we can save
Yes, ma'am.
$7,000.
Yes, ma'am. I believe we can probably do the trip for less than $1,500. So
Ralph, the purchase of these, are they on the
their
state?
state contract,
Thank
FSA, I believe.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? What's the pleasure of the board here?
So this is grant covered, right?
100%.
All right, I move to approve the quote for the generator for emergency management.
Okay,
It's actually two generators.
It's actually two generators.
Okay, and these,
The exact same thing, two of them.
okay, and these will be used like natural disaster and.
Yeah, so they can be used for natural disasters. We actually wrote the grant to where we can put plug-ins on the current buildings that we do not have a generator
And
hooked
they're
up at now.
portable, so they can be moved
Yes.
wherever they're needed?
Yes, sir. We used during Helene, we have one of these already. It's about 25 years old, and we used it for almost 14 days straight during Helene. We have also used it at the sheriff's office during times that their generator was messed up. We used it at Heart Springs during their time the generator was messed up. And so, I mean, we need a couple more to be able to use them, because if we'd have needed it while it was at the Heart Springs, we would have had to use.
So we'll be picking up two from Mississippi
Yes,
then?
ma'am.
So we'll need two.
No,
You're
ma'am.
gonna
One
take, you're
gooseneck
gonna put them on a
Oh, you're gonna
gooseneck
put
and
gooseneck.
carry them both.
Okay, I see
Yes,
what you're
ma'am.
saying.
All right, I move to approve the quote for two generators for emergency management.
Second.
okay, got a motion and a second to approve the purchase of the generators that are covered by a grant. Any other questions or
And minus the shipping costs because.
minus the shipping costs?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. All right, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Ralph, you said that was $7,000?
Yes, sir. They quoted me that was $7,000 built into that price to have them delivered.
And then next is the EMPA grant.
Yes, ma'am. So the next is going to be your emergency management preparedness grant. That's the $105,806 we get every year that helps pay the director's salary.
Okay. Any other-
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the EMPA grant. Any other questions or concerns? No. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
And then next is the Sheriff's Office Design Project grant.
So we did this as a FYI on the agenda. The sheriff's office dispatch safe room that you guys approved a month ago for phase one design, that's 100% fully funded also. We have to go out for bid for design. We can't use current people we have on staff because of the federal grant. So we had to come back to you guys to make sure you guys were good with us going out for bid.
And this is the hardening project?
No, sir, this is to build the new building. This
Okay.
is to design that new building that we have
Okay.
on the hazard mitigation money. It's
Yeah.
100%.
For 911
Called a
facility.
community safe room project.
Yes, sir, the communication safe room project.
Okay. Any questions? Nope. So we don't need a motion, that was just information?
Mr. Duke, did you decide if you needed to do a motion on this?
Yeah, I think you need a motion to approve you going out for bid with the RFP that you preside.
So moved. Second.
Okay, a motion and a second to approve the design project for the sheriff's office. All those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you,
And
Ralph.
just for the record, that's the FEMA P-361 Community Safe Room Project.
That's a lot
That's a mouthful.
to say, isn't it? All right.
All right, the next thing is the road department, the chipper quote. I think that this is something that was talked about during the budgeting meetings. And this is the quote. I don't know if Mr. Tomlinson with the road department wants to come up and tell us more about it.
Welcome, Mr. Rodney.
Hey, Rodney Thompson, Road Department Supervisor. This is actual quote that came from Premier on replacement of our wood chipper. Current wood chipper we have, that's stated in our budget workshop meetings, is 2007 model, and it's just costly, the repairs. It's a very vital piece of equipment for us to utilize. We actually use one of our inmate work squads when we utilize this. So we utilize it a lot down our dirt roads, where vegetation so overgrows the roads, where we can chip without having to haul. It's cost saving to the county without having to get a grapple truck out there. We have one grapple truck to serve the whole county. So this piece of equipment actually was asking for it to be purchased through FEMA reimbursement. Actually, we got FEMA monies, and Richard can explain that price or the amount we got from FEMA. Just to purchase this piece of equipment, that FEMA money was reimbursement for what we did in storm debris pickup. So we're just asking, not asking much this year, can't get much from the road department, but this is one of the pieces of equipment that is very vital, that I feel we need going forward. I think the road department's in pretty good shape going forward with equipment that's been purchased, at least in the past, so I think we're setting very well. In addition to this piece of equipment, I think, like I told you on the budget workshop, that we're moving forward, that you'll start seeing our costs go down for repair and maintenance and based on the equipment we have. So it's a very vital piece of equipment. We need it. If not, like I say, we'll be utilizing our grapple truck quite a bit.
You also scatter those chips in the ditch of the road, don't you? You don't have to haul
In
them.
areas we do.
You don't have to haul them back on
private
the
property, and
Right.
there are some areas we can't. We do have to pick up the grapple truck, you know, where residents maintain the road, or even our right-of-ways. We're not going to shoot the wood chips where they maintain even the county right-of-way. We're going to pick it up with the grapple truck.
I make a motion we approve it.
Is that on the state contract?
Yes, sir, it's on state contract.
I make a motion we approve it because we did talk about it in the budget workshop.
we
The
did.
money's coming from the free FEMA reimbursement, so now's the time to do it.
And that's probably what it was used a lot for, is cleaning up debris from the storm, so that's a good place to get it from, so.
Okay, got a motion? Anybody want to make a second?
Second.
And a second to purchase the chipper as quoted and explained. Any other questions or concerns?
Yep, thank y'all for what y'all do.
All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
My question is, are you still gonna keep the old one and keep it running, or is it something
Yes,
that's gonna go to
sir,
surplus?
we can actually surplus that one, or a band that we acquired from Marshall County years ago that we could surplus out. That will cost, same situation as the Vermeer, the bandit is, it's just repair costs on that, but we could surplus one out.
Just didn't know what the plan was, is to try to keep it running, so so when you had to change oil on the other one, you still had something to use, or
Yes,
whether it was so far gone it needed to be moved on for spare parts for someone else.
No, so we can surplus.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Rodney.
Thank you, Robin.
Anything else, Ms. Moore?
Yes, that's all for me.
All right, we'll move on to Mr. Lang, your part of the agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have two things. The first up is resolution number 2026-13. It's a resolution by the Gilchrist County Board of County Commissioners requesting the Florida Department of Environmental Protection and the Swanee River Water Management District to reduce permit fees for fiscal year 2026 through 2027, and that's reading by title only. We're entitled to ask for that if we meet one of two criteria established in the Florida statutes, and actually the county meets both of these criteria. And one of those criteria is that our per capita taxable value average in Gilchrist County is less than the statewide average. I've attached that as Exhibit A that's up there before you on the board. Our average taxable value in Gilchrist County is $78,909. Statewide average is $149,473. So we meet that criteria right off the bat. And then the second criteria we meet is that the percentage of assessed value in the county that's exempt from taxation is greater than the statewide average. And so the statewide average is 16.19%, and the percentage of assessed value that's exempt in Gilchrist County from taxation is 22.77%. So those two figures there, of course, justify the request for the reduced permit fee to $100 per permit. And if you've looked in the administrative code at the fees that they potentially could charge, you'll appreciate the fact that we can get that for the $100 reduced fee.
Okay, yeah, I did talk with Mr. Thomas at Water Management District, and he confirmed that they are charging the reduced fee for the county, and this will just remind them of our continued interest in that in the future, right? So
Well, I think you're supposed to do it every fiscal
year.
year.
Okay.
And to remind them, yes.
Okay. Anybody got questions for Mr. Lane?
Motion to approve resolution 2026-13.
Okay, a motion and a second to pass or approve resolution number 2026-13. Any other questions? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Second thing I have, Mr. Chairman, the board asked for us to come back with a proposed advertisement for the county administrator position for approval by the board. Caitlin will have it up there on the screen in a moment. You should have a copy there in your program on your computers as well.
I'd like to hold off on that, going out for that, and let's give Ms. Moore a chance to get settled in and maybe a time of probation. Just don't get in no hurry, because I've been through this before, and it can turn into a mess. And Miss Tammy Moore, she's a good employee, and she's got time and grade. I think she deserves first consideration at this job. And I'd like to see us hold off on advertising.
What's the?
I don't have a problem with that.
I don't have a problem with it.
I'd like to see it go ahead and go out and get some applications. And I mean, we got the process, and we've got the guidelines. I'd just like to see it go out and
Well,
if she gets a job, that's fine. If she, however it works out, that's fine too. But,
well, it also says that we can hire within if we choose.
Right. Yeah, I did talk to her earlier, and she does plan to apply if we go ahead and advertise it. So what's the pleasure of the board?
Well, I'll make that motion. I'll make it a form of a motion that we hold off.
Hold off.
That would be table it.
Huh?
To table that.
Table it.
For how many months? You want to review?
Well, I'd say until maybe the first of the year. Or
The only concern.
I'd like to see Miss Moore.
Yeah.
She's proven herself to us, and she's been a good employee, and
So that would be,
I think she deserves first choice at this job. If she so chooses, then she.
Yeah.
I'll second that as long as we review it in January then.
That'd be fine.
Yeah, we've got a motion and a second. I guess as far as discussion, the concern I mentioned last time, and I've talked to her about this, is her serving as a board member on the school board. There is great potential for lots of pressure on the school board, as well as we all know what kind of pressure the county administrator has. And I would just...
Well, it'd be a great spirit to see if she can handle it, if she still wants it. Because I know she's going to have plenty of challenges between now and the first of the year.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
I don't have a problem waiting until the first of the year
So
to
5 months?
reevaluate it and
Or 4
see then what we want to do. It is quite stressful right now with all this land deal going on and still trying to finalize budget stuff and everything, and give her a chance to get her feet in there and see what it's all about. I mean, in 6 months, she might come back to us and say, I don't want that job, but at least it gives her a chance to not be under pressure to step in the job and do her thing. I do think we need to reevaluate it in 6 months and see.
Well, we're gonna do it in January, so
Yeah,
that's less than
which would
6
be-
months.
Well, I guess it's not quite 6 months, it'd be 4 months, so that would be fine with me.
Okay. Any other comment?
I'm not against Tammy. I think she's a great employee and all that. I'm just ready to move forward with the process myself.
Okay. We got a motion and a second to hold off until January to advertise for the county administrator position. Any other discussion or comment? Not hearing any. So all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Nay.
Okay. Motion passes. And so we'll reevaluate in January. And so
Thank you.
we'll,
And that's all I had, Mr. Chairman, unless you have questions.
okay. All right, we'll move on to the clerk report. Mr. Newton.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First item on my report is we've received renewals on our ancillary benefits for employees, and this is an update of that. For dental, our rates increased by 9%. That is employee paid, so it's not actually an increase to the board, but it is an increase in cost to the employee. That's currently with Standard. Our vision is currently with Equitable. We're recommending moving to the Standard, which would allow us to have a flat rate for vision. Again, that's paid by the employee, but it would allow no increase on the vision rates. For basic life and AD&D, again, it's currently with Equitable. We're recommending moving it to the Standard. That is an 11% increase. That is covered by the board. Currently with Equitable, if we were to stay with them, that's a 22% increase. So this would cut the increase in half. The cost of increase is around $1,300 a year. Retiree life, again, moving from Equitable to the Standard would be flat. This is paid by the county. So it would be no increase for that cost. And finally, for voluntary life, again, recommending moving from Equitable to the Standard. This is, again, paid by the employee, so it's no additional cost to the county. So all of those things considered, it is about a $1,300 increase in costs to the county. Just need approval to move forward with changing those policies from Equitable to the Standard.
Okay. Any questions for the clerk related to his proposal and recommendation?
Motion to approve.
Okay. Got a motion
I'll second it.
and a second to approve the employee benefit renewal as presented. Any other questions or concerns or comments? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Same sign. Motion passes.
Thank you. Next item is the board asked us to go out and put out an RFP for our property and casualty insurance as well as workers' comp. So we put out the solicitation. We did do an addendum to the original RFP, and that was made part of the solicitation. We received 3 proposals. All 3 were Florida Public Entity Insurance Trusts or pools. We received responses from Foundation Risk Partners, World Risk Management, which is PRM, and Risk Management Associates, which is Brown & Brown, and that is our incumbent. We evaluated it based on these criteria. It was 100 points. 35 points was based on cost, 25 points based on scope and breadth of coverage, 15 points based on the ability to service the county, 10 points based on public sector experience, 10 points based on financial stability, and 5 points based on value-added programs. The board established a committee to evaluate the 3 responses, And the results of the committee was that Foundation Risk Partners received the highest rank, PRM received the second ranking, and Risk Management received the third ranking. As you can see on the board, premium was a factor in this, with Foundation Risk coming in at just under $375,000 for all of our core property and casualty insurance policies. So the recommendation of the board is to accept the ranking of Foundation Risks as the top proposer, and to allow the board to move forward with contracting.
Okay, we do have a comment card from a representative from Brown and Brown. Would you
We
like to come forward? Yes, sir.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Kyle Stoke. I'm with Brown and Brown Public Sector. And, we've had the privilege and the honor to work with the county for the past 20 years. And obviously, this RFP generated strong results, and that's a direct representation of the market at this point in time through the renewal season. One thing I just wanted to review, when you look at the premiums, obviously there's some pretty large discrepancies in the three options. And I just want to question kind of the coverage and make sure that the county is aware of certain coverage implications or gaps in coverage or unfunded liabilities that could result from making a switch between these two programs. So the coverage in question is the public official's liability and the employment practice liability. What that is, so just a quick overview, basically that covers wrongful acts and board decisions, wrongful termination, land use agreements, that sort of thing. And that's written currently on a claims-made form. Now, typically the program that's being recommended is on an occurrence form, and when that switch happens, it creates potential gap in coverage, and there's ways to address that. So from a risk management standpoint, you would look at purchasing an extended reporting period policy. That would essentially be $104,000 for that additional coverage, and that provides kind of an extension of the current claims-made reporting policy. It would dovetail with the occurrence form. So when you look at that, really that number should be added to the recommended premium up there. So that puts the difference between that premium and the incumbent premium from the preferred governmental insurance trust at about a $20,000 savings, so about 3%. And I understand this is a very difficult year for municipalities and budgets are a huge concern. And I'm not advising that you don't take the $20,000 savings, but I just want to ensure that the county is aware of these potential gaps in coverages, and that this whatever broker was relaying this proposal, that they kind of outlined what potential implications there were from moving from coverage form to coverage form. So just to put this in context, for this line of coverage that this would apply, since 2022, there's been about 17 claims, and insurance is paid out on those pretty significantly. So I just want to bring that to light and make sure that there's potential for differences in coverage, and it could wipe out the savings pretty quickly. If there's any questions, I'm available and appreciate your consideration.
Thank you for being here. Any questions from anybody? Mr. Newton, your recommendation is still what the committee has presented?
Yes, sir. Looking at that is one of the items that we looked at, during the committee, the differences in that particular coverage, and it is a considerable difference. But I still feel that it's prudent to move forward.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it.
All right. What's the pleasure of the board?
I make a motion we accept Foundation Risk Partners as the recommendation from the committee.
Okay, we got a motion.
Second.
And a second to approve the RFP submittal recommendation. Any other discussion or question? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
The only other thing is we did not make it part of the award, but off-cycle specialty lines, which is special policies we have on our towers, a firefighter cancer benefit, AD&D, flood policies, storage tank and pollution. It was not made part of the RFP, but it was quoted. The Foundation Risk Partners did indicate that what they would like to do is try and see those policies consolidated into the same renewal timeframe, because currently those policies are spread out throughout the year. So we have policies in January, March, and I think August possibly. But what they're recommending is that we bring all those policies and try and, over time, consolidate those to the October 1st renewal date. So anyway, I just need to know if the board would want to move forward with them taking those policies over as well, so that everything is together. And I guess that would be my recommendation.
Okay. Board have any questions?
So we'd be moving all of our policies under one,
Under one umbrella.
under one umbrella instead of, and
Well, and so those separate policies, they would continue to be through, most likely, the current carriers that we use. It's just that they would be managed through the same vendor.
okay.
Okay. Do you need a motion, Mr. Newton?
Yes, sir, if I could.
So moved.
Okay. Got a motion? Do we have a second?
Second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. All right, our next item is the 6 o'clock time certain.
Wait, that's the discussion on paper.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Lisa Grant.
What do we have?
Right, Mr.
I'm sorry.
Number 13.
I skipped. Go ahead.
Yes, sir, no worries.
I was trying to
So-
jump ahead there.
So we have a renewal on the Lisa grant. This is the funds that the state provides to assist with law enforcement salaries. The amount is, again, this year, $601,256. Just need approval to move forward with the grant with FDLE.
So moved.
Got a motion and a second. This is a very important grant that supports our local sheriff, and the sheriff is here. I don't know if you want to speak to this at all, or we appreciate you being here and all your work.
Just very briefly, as you said, this is vital importance to the Sheriff Schultz, Gilchrist County. Vital importance to the operation of the Sheriff's Office and all its salaries. And I would encourage you at our next legislative delegation meeting comes here that we encourage our delegation to vehemently support the continuation of the lesson. I think there might be a little bit of pushback from some, but we need to let them know just how vital it is. When they were here last time, we talked about safe school monies. Our delegation did everything they could to save it, and they did. There wasn't very many people that were supporting the safe school monies as it was intended. This will be another agreement or another grant that we're going to make sure the House and the Senate supports and funds fully going to the governor's desk. So absolutely, it goes without saying I support it wholeheartedly, but I'm asking y'all to continue supporting it with our delegation. Let them know that we expect them to vote for the continued support of this.
How many deputies or how many staff members does this support, roughly? If you don't have it, we can wait.
Each employee roughly is 80 to 85,000. That's corrections and law enforcement. So divided by that is roughly what it is. And that's not counting tenured people. That'd be a starting salary. But roughly with benefits, everything which they pay for, that's how that money comes for. So 80,000 divided by 600.
A huge impact if we lose it, and the county, it would be difficult for us to make up that difference. But,
Sure helps you keep your salaries competitive too.
yeah.
Well, it got us to be competitive at the time. Now, again, as time goes by, it's, we're always going to be behind the 8 ball, but it got us where we were. But if they were not to fund that, or they would try to get you to wean yourself off of it, I'm not sure how we do that.
Yeah.
That's another issue that y'all would have to deal with, and myself, but yeah, it'd be catastrophic. You couldn't take me out of the jail because our jail is that critical now, so they have to come off of patrol or law enforcement positions, and that would be, I guess, 6 to 7 positions at least.
Okay, thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate you being here. Did we pass? We did. No, we didn't. We've got a motion and a second. All right. All those in favor of the Lisa Grant agreement, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Okay, Mr. Newton, you have one other item?
Yes, sir. So last week, we had a meeting regarding the county administrator position and was tasked with meeting with finance, Mr. Lang, and yourself to discuss possible pay supplement for the interim county administrator. I know you had indicated that she's indicated that she's not asking for that. In coming up with something, our recommendation, if we were going to look at an increase, would be doing maybe a $200 a week increase in pay based on the interim position. And
$200 a week
correct,
with her base salary like she's making now.
correct.
Yeah,
And-
she's indicated, as we've mentioned, that she's not interested, she's not asking for it, but at the last board meeting, it was suggested that we take a look at, even though she's got quite a bit of extra responsibility. So I don't know how the board feels, or,
Yes, I went in today and they were hard at it. And they were working and they were leaning over computers trying to figure out everything. And it certainly is a lot more stressful to her in her job title now than before. And I think she should be compensated for her extra work that she's putting into it.
If I can say something, I didn't want to ask for anything, and I don't feel comfortable because there's other supervisors that are having to step up. We're all kind of working together. I appreciate it, but I'm really not asking for anything at this time. I'd rather put that back and maybe look at some of the other employees.
okay, well, we appreciate.
Yep, mighty
Certainly
thoughtful of
do.
you.
I'm sorry.
Mighty thoughtful of you.
Yes, it is.
And then we'll reconsider it when we come back to reconsider in the
So
new
is
year.
that something, I mean, if she's not wanting the money, is that something maybe you could bring us back a recommendation if you were putting extra responsibilities on other people maybe?
Yeah,
Just a
we can do
thought,
that.
I mean, since,
I know Caitlin's gonna be a big asset to you.
Yeah, she was hard at it today when we walked in there. So.
And I know she don't take on a separate role too, so.
And
I mean, it's just something to
Rodney-
think about. I mean, it was
Bring us
200
back a
extra a week.
recommendation, what you think next board meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, just
Can do
think
that.
about it and.
If you get to the point you feel like you need it, don't be afraid to ask.
Okay, thank you.
Because it is a lot of burden
Right.
on you, a lot of
I
work.
just appreciate the opportunity of giving me a chance. And that was,
We
the main
appreciate you
thing I wanted.
stepping up.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Newton, anything else?
That's all I have for my report, sir.
Why don't we take a 3 or 4 minute break before our
Yes.
next item? All right, we ready? Everybody? Ready.
We don't, it don't need to be,
All right, we'll call the meeting back to order, and thank you for allowing us to take a little break. I'm suspecting many of you are here tonight to hear the discussion related to the solid waste property and finding a location for building a new transfer site. And I'm just curious, how many of you were here at our last meeting? So quite a few of you. And as you know, but those that have maybe just joining us, we've been discussing this subject for a good while. And in fact, 3 or 4 years ago, we started looking at the need for a new facility, and we started going to the legislature and asking for appropriation that would help the county, and we were successful a little over a year ago in the last session to get $4.2 million. Not to say that we have to spend all that 4.2, but we had to match, the county did, the way it works is the county does the work, you seek reimbursement for that funding, then the state reimburses us for the money we've spent. So I just going in, we've discussed this in the past, but we're not necessarily we don't have to have a $7.4 million facility. Now, if we double the size of what we have or triple the size, whatever, Mr. Locklear is going to present in just a few minutes. And those of you who were here last time saw the presentation and how it's different than a dump. It's not a dump, it's a transfer site. We bring all of our garbage from the remote sites that have been compacted to the central site. And we have Mr. Bobby Rush here, who is the manager for that and does a great job, in my opinion. And we've heard others. The way we handle solid waste per resident is cheaper than most counties around us. Some counties have taken the approach that we just require mandatory garbage pickup. And I'm going to talk to, I don't think I see a representative here, but I've asked about what would that cost? And you're talking some of you may already do this, but you're talking $500 a year to have garbage picked up by a private individual and then take it somewhere else. But our assessment for the county is $120 plus the residents pay some property tax, obviously. But still, when you look at the cost per resident, the way we do it seems to be working very well, and we want to continue that. So Mr. Locklear is going to present, maybe summarize a little bit for those that were here last time, what was discussed. And then we asked for those that were interested to submit properties to be considered. And we've been asking for a good while. And those of you who have been here and been involved know that. What we found was many of the properties ended up being not for sale to us for this use, or neighbors ended up buying it, or we've talked to realtors and it's just, for whatever reason, even though we've advertised on Facebook and through the news, and we've ended up with 3 or 4 properties now, again, that Mr. Locklear has preliminarily evaluated, and he's going to tell us kind of what he's found. And so I'll ask him to go ahead and come forward and give us that presentation, and we'll take public comment on that. So, Mr. Locklear.
Get my good side, man. Good evening, Mr. Chair, Board. As you said, my name is John Locklear. I am the owner of Locklear & Associates, which is one of the engineering firms that is on a continuing services contract with the county. Personally, I've been doing solid waste engineering consulting for 30 years for many, many municipalities and county governments, mostly in Florida. So I have a pretty long history of how this works. Again, as you stated, Mr. Chair, I spoke 2 weeks ago, and so I might be a little redundant on some of these slides, but since it seemed like a fair amount of folks weren't here last time. I'll try to be brief but complete in what I'm discussing. And please feel free to stop and ask questions along the way. All right, Ms. Caitlin, let's rock and roll. So as we talked about last time, we started off with what is a solid waste transfer station. And that picture you're looking at is the Suwannee County Transfer Station, which is roughly this concept of what this project would be, a more enclosed on three sides with a roof. But in general, a transfer station is a permitted enclosed building with a reinforced concrete floor. And the concept is that smaller loads of solid waste are brought into that facility, sorted, and then compiled into a larger vehicle for long haul hauling to, in your case, an off-site, out-of-county Class 1 landfill. So that's what a transfer station is. And what is a transfer station not? Well, it's not a landfill, as the chair pointed out. This picture here is from the Hernando County landfill, which I also work for. And I think everyone generally knows what a landfill looks like. You have trash that's brought to the top of a hill and spread out, and at the end of the day covered with dirt, and the trash remains there forever. It's open to vectors while it's being pushed around, so that's birds, rats, snakes, whatever it is. And then, as I said, it resides there. Transfer station is not that. The waste cannot stay there. It's not buried. It's not deposited there. And it has to be processed and moved out of that facility within a specified amount of time according to Florida statutes. And so we spoke last time, is it environmentally safe? Well, when I design and permit this, it's in accordance with Chapter 62, 701, 710, which governs the design and operations of transfer stations. And the thing that's most important is that at a transfer station, the liquid that is on the floor, and anytime you can take pure spring water, if it touches any solid waste, it becomes leachate. It doesn't matter how clean it is or not. Once it's touched that, by definition, it is leachate, and it has to be collected. That floor is graded to a drain, which then that liquid flows into typically an on-site tank, and then that tank is emptied periodically by a tanker truck, and then hauled to a wastewater treatment facility that's permitted to accept that material, and then it's processed in accordance with their permit. So nothing is allowed to soak into the ground, and therefore it is designed to protect groundwater. So the purpose of the building is to keep that material from reaching the ground. So, does a transfer station handle solid waste? No, by rule it is not allowed to. You can't have even household hazardous waste. And as I said before, when a load is brought in, the operator spreads that load out on the floor, and they are required by rule and by their permit to look through that for anything that's not allowed. They are then required to take that out. They have a special holding area, and then they usually have a contractor which hauls that away. So they're not allowed to take it, not allowed to do anything with it. They have to get it out. Ms. Caitlin, with this caveat that Gilchrist County, like many counties, will have toxic roundup events, typically at the transfer station. These are one-day events, usually half a day, depends. I believe you guys use Alachua County Environmental Protection, and they come out with special equipment, and they accept your household hazardous waste, which is great because it keeps that material from going in the woods or dumped elsewhere. But generally, I just wanted to be clear, that is one exception where you intentionally accept household hazardous waste under special conditions, and then you remove them. Is it clean? Again, I referenced all the rules. You're required in your operations permit to have regular litter pickup. The 3 walls would help minimize that windblown debris, but you still have to check and keep that litter picked up. Again, the waste is contained within those 3 walls and in that area that's defined for the waste. And then at the end of the day, and maybe more frequently if you need to, but at a minimum daily, you clean the floor off to mostly control vectors so you don't have anything coming in during the night. So you'll spray that down. It'll go again into the leachate collection system and be hauled off. That's not something that's just take us for our word. The Florida Department of Environmental Protection oversees and your permit and your operations. They can come by and do an inspection unannounced anytime they want. From what I understand, Mr. Bobby Rush has done a great job, and all of your inspections have been top-notch. Does it smell? Well, it is in an enclosed building, so everything that we're doing is trying to minimize that, the odor. And so you have an enclosed building. As I mentioned earlier, the waste processing speed. So I believe Mr. Bobby will tell you, when it hits the floor, you want this waste processed and put in the truck as quickly as possible and hauled off. In addition to wanting to do that, you're required, we've got 48 hours to process that. When that waste comes in, it can't stay more than 48 hours in the facility, it's got to go. And so finally, your permit specifies, and it references that rule 710-4D, that the facility must be operated to control objectionable odors. So the state has the right to come in if there's a complaint by a neighbor. They have a means, and it's beyond my technical expertise. I'm not an air guy, but they actually have odor meters, and they'll come in and say, this is above, and you need to change your process or do something different. You can't keep going this way. So again, it's not just your word for it. The state's watching you. How does it impact traffic? So we just took a look at what the current facility does on average for traffic counts. You've got about 40 to 45 pickup truck cars, mom and pop coming in per day. You've got about 6 roll-off trucks where you're collecting it at other sites, the county is, and then bringing it in a sort of medium-sized roll-off truck. And then you've got 6 long-haul trailers going out per week. So that's the sort of the general idea of what kind of traffic you're talking about. Those are real numbers for your current facility.
Is that a day or a week?
So the mom and pop trucks and the roll-up trucks are per day. The long haul trailers are per week, 6 hauls per week.
Okay.
And I would point out, actually, Mr. Martin, something you pointed out last time is currently those long haul trailers go up 340 and out to Union County. So if you were to move it somewhere on that same route, it would not be an additive. It's the same. Yeah. So just a point of order. Now, if you go on a different road, then that's adding. But on that case, it's the same. So why do we need a new transfer station? Well, the current station was built in 1995. It is got some structural issues. It's still safe, but it's nearing the end of its useful life without considerable remediation and improvements. In that 30-plus year time period, the county's population has more than doubled, and we all generally, on average, humans generate the same amount of waste as other humans, and so you can generally see a pretty 1-to-1 ratio. If my population doubles, so does my garbage. So we've seen a little over 240. But that's probably an artifact of the society that we live in now. We're more of a throwaway, disposable society. So 30 years ago, we reused things more frequently. We did less Amazon purchases and less consumerism. And so that's why it's more than double. It's because we've changed our ways of life, unfortunately. So, and we're looking at about 570 tons of waste processing through that facility each month. The issue is, based on size, is you have to have enough area to safely bring in vehicles, particularly when you've got mom and pop coming in there. You need to make sure they're not too close to each other as they're unloading and running into people. And then also you've got to have enough space on the floor to do that spotting that I told you about. So the waste gets dumped, dozer comes in and spreads it out. I do my spotting, I remove anything that's not allowed, and then I can process it and put it in the truck. So I've got to have these working areas, and as your waste grows, that's more trucks and more waste, and so you need more room. It's just common sense. Okay, Ms. Caitlin. So last time I was here 2 weeks ago, I just wanted to kind of recap. Initially, I brought you, or you brought me, three sites. Option A option B and option C. And before I even spoke, I believe the seller of option C opted out. So last time I spoke about B and A, and the board voted last time to eliminate site B. So those are gone, and I was left only with option A. And then, as the chairman pointed out, you put out a call. I believe last Wednesday was the deadline. Anybody that wanted to provide a parcel to look at as an alternative. And I believe we received 3 in that time frame. And so,
Mr. Locklear, let me just mention, the reason for the deadline was to allow you
give
to
me enough
evaluate.
time. Right.
Yeah,
So I have to do a little bit of effort in
Preliminary.
looking at each site, looking at wetlands and floodplain and traffic and all those sorts of things. So I needed a few days to be able to do that. So that's why we put that deadline of Wednesday. So if you'll just bear with me, the option A from last time stays as option A, but just ignore B and C. I have new B's and C's this time. So just want to make that clear. Okay. So, as I said, option A remains unchanged. You can also see on here where the existing transfer station is, kind of in the center of this map. And I'm going to go through each one of these, even going through A again, even though we went through it last time. We have option B, you'll see, very close to option A. And then option C and D on the western side of the county, closer to Bell, a little north of Bell, but on the other side of the county. So I'll go through these one by one. All right, Ms. Caitlin. So, as the chair said, we did some preliminary evaluation of each site, and as I mentioned last time, we're looking for things that are major problems to developing the site for what we want to use. A, is it a large enough site? Does it have wetlands that would impede the use of the site? Is it within a floodplain that would cause us issues with permitting and building on the site? What are the surrounding land uses? What does the access road look like? Things of that nature. So this is Site A, and essentially, just let me remind you that this is a conceptual layout. It doesn't have to look exactly like this. We essentially just want to see, is it big enough to handle the new building and all the related features, as well as the stormwater pond, access road, etc. So this could be moved around many different ways. I just need to see if it fits, and that's all this is. So don't get married to any one particular configuration that I'm showing here. I'm just showing that it works.
Is that the full 29 acres?
That is.
Okay.
Yes, sir. So you can see we're not using all of it, even under this configuration, so you could hypothetically use part of it for something else if you so chose. But again, just on a bare brass knuckles look, I'm just trying to see, does it fit? And then we looked at, this slide shows wetlands, and as you can see, with the exception of a teeny little bit on the northern property boundary, the rest of the site's not within wetlands. So that's great. And next slide, in a similar fashion, we look at the floodplain. You can see it overlaps with that wetland kind of on the north part there. And I think I mentioned last time, the issue with floodplain is you can build in it, but for every acre or every square foot of floodplain you build in, you've got to add compensation, equivalent compensation somewhere else on site. So it just means your usable area is reduced by however much is within that floodplain. Okay, and as you can see, if you'll back up, I'm sorry, Kate, let's go back real quick. This A is located right there, and again, as I said last time, I'm not for A, B, C, or D, it doesn't matter. I'm just telling you the facts of each site. This is on a curve, as you can see, and the speed limit there, which I'll get into later, I believe is 55 miles an hour. There's no turn lane, so those are factors to consider in the evaluation. Okay, go ahead, Kate. This is site B at the intersection of 340 and 47. And again, this configuration is somewhat arbitrary. I could rotate that 90 degrees. I could do any number of things. But it fits, and it fits with plenty of room to spare. Gives you future expansion opportunities. But again, the placement on the property is somewhat arbitrary at this point. Okay, Caitlin. This is the wetland map. As you can see, there are none. And then likewise, floodplain, not within any floodplains, so we're good there. Again, from a traffic perspective, this is at the intersection of 340 and 47. I believe, it depends on where you pick your spot, the speed limit changes from 35, I think, to 55 is at the end of the property. But it slows down as you get to that intersection, obviously. And this is site C. Again, I don't want to be redundant. It fits, it works from a space perspective. And then go ahead, Caitlin. Again, no wetlands on this site and no floodplain.
Now, is that whole piece, the part where I was under the assumption the whole piece was 60 acres and we were only interested in 20,
Right, I
22
believe
or
it's
something?
63 is the whole parcel, from what I understand, they're willing to sell 23. This figure was done before I knew that fact.
Okay.
But it still fits.
Yeah.
It's 23 is the same as the other two, so that's really kind of the minimum, as you can see. It fits on 20, 25.
Is this the one that's off the dirt road?
It is off a dirt road, yes, ma'am.
How far is the nearest highway?
There's access, I believe the road to the front is paved. It's that side road that's unpaved. So the north-south road there.
No, this is just east of,
Just east of the paved
the
road?
Church of God,
Church
which
of
is
God,
on State Road 129. If you go
Just
east,
past, one road past the cruise center.
yeah,
I went out and looked at it today.
yeah, I did too.
I noticed that property seems to,
Yeah,
Yeah, you can see the topography. It's hard to see. You see the white lines?
yeah.
It is, there's a lot of topographic change on that. It is undulating, for sure. So that would increase cost where we have to fill or grade and level.
Is that north of 340 off of 129?
yes.
Trying to get a bearing of where it's at.
Okay, go ahead, Caitlin. And as I said, so no wetlands, no floodplain. And then finally, site D, same scenario. It fits, we could, mess around with the configuration.
Yeah, for those that are aware, this would be west on 340 from the 129-340 intersection, just west of Mount Nebo Church.
Right. Closer to Rock Bluff, right?
Right.
Okay, go ahead, Caitlin. And likewise, no wetlands and no floodplain. So if we can go to the next one. I put this slide together just for comparative purposes. And I did shrink the acreage down to 23 on site C from the 63. So I just didn't change the figure, I didn't have time. You can see the price per acre varies 25 down to 22.5 for C and D. Total price obviously is just that unit price times the acreage. We did, using GIS, we estimated the population within a 1 mile radius in that column. You can see the site A has the lowest population within 1 mile at 63. And site C has the highest population within a 1 mile radius at 276. We looked at, from FDOT's website, we looked at daily traffic counts. And each of them, with the exception of D, on the main roads, not the dirt roads that are, on the side, are 2,000 daily traffic counts, with the exception of site D, which was 2,400. Speed limits, as I mentioned, A was 55, as is B. Site C, on the dirt road, it's 35 on the side, and on the main road, it's 60. And then on site D, the speed limit at the site is 45. So, and then in miscellaneous, for site A, I just pointed out the large curve. And if that's the site that's selected, we'd have to look at that with DOT in terms of does it need a turn lane or not. I can't tell you now if it does. Does it need some yellow lights? It would be up to what DOT says, basically. The second one is, as I said, very near the intersection of 340 and State Road 47. Not saying that's a bad thing, just bringing it to your attention.
John, can I ask related to that one? So you've got the traffic count for 340. What about 47, that kind of
I
intersection?
looked at that as well, and it is also 2,000.
Okay.
Surprisingly, but it is. That's what DOT's website says.
Okay.
And the last two roads, at least the roads that are, the addresses are on are unpaved. It's not likely that we would use those as the access points. But if you did, they would have to be paved, obviously, which would increase the costs. And so we can come back to this slide, but let me just go on. I said this last time, what happens next? Well, once the decision is made, the county would go through the process of purchasing the property, go into zoning. Again, that would be more opportunities for the public to come into those zoning hearings. We would do a geotechnical investigation, an environmental evaluation for animals and things of that nature that are protected. We would do a conceptual design, move into permitting with the state, and then once the permit is approved, we'd go into bidding, construction, and operation. We're looking at probably a 3-year process there. And I think that's it. Probably for questions or comments, I don't know if you would rather have the map or the summary slide.
Can you go back to the summary matrix?
Let's go back to the summary. There you go.
Yeah. So, in my mind, the cost per acre, I understand, is a little bit because there's more acreage than some of them. They're pretty similar.
Pretty similar.
They're all high, and which is a challenge for me.
Yes, sir.
And I understand how we got to where we are because we've looked for a year or more and ended up with what we've got. But still, they're high.
They are.
If you look at, all along, we've been looking for property that affects the least amount of people. And even with the one that's the least, we have folks that have been here several times.
Yep.
And we have some here and probably want to speak tonight. It's a challenge finding a property that affects no one. But that's something we tried to do, is find a property that affects the least amount of people.
Yes, sir.
So, in my opinion, none of these properties are perfect. They all have challenges. And, we've talked to lots of people. We've gotten lots of input. But I talked to somebody who was here last time, Mr. Billy Philman, who is one of the closest neighbors to our current site. And those that have been around a while know Mr. Philman, and he's somebody that I respect. His suggestion was, why don't you take another look at building it where animal control is? And I know we've looked at this in the past, but when you hear neighbors that live close say, we don't have any issues, you're good neighbors, the county is a good neighbor. And when I have an issue, I go talk to Mr. Rush and he takes care of it. So to me, I'm throwing that out as, would we want to reconsider with these other properties? I'm not saying discard them, but I'm just thinking, would we want to?
And with that in mind, Mr. Chair, if I may, we looked, and I excluded some of the slides for brevity's sake that I had last time. And we did, as you mentioned, look at the current animal control site previously. It is narrow. The property owner to the west is currently not willing to sell anymore to allow us to expand it. It is doable. The two issues at the time, and this may be for the board's consideration, but maybe it's time to look at those again, was the school traffic. But putting it there doesn't eliminate that. However, we could look at an alternate route. There are unpaved roads that go around the school. Maybe we, instead of spending the money on a new property, we look at somehow paving those. I'm not saying it works. I'm not saying there's enough money. I don't know. But hypothetically, it's something we could look at. The second thing is I took another look at your existing animal control facility, the building itself, Probably within the next 5 to 10 years, whether you do this or not, you're gonna need a new animal control building. So, that was the second sticking point, was the cost of building a new animal control. Because if we wipe that out, well, now you've got to, in essence, tack on that as a cost of this project, right? I can't operate without an animal control facility. So, again, it's an economic decision at that point. Maybe there are other avenues of getting funding for an animal control building. Maybe we relook, as you said at the beginning of this meeting, Mr. Chair, we don't have to spend the full $7 million on this facility. Can we discuss with the state ways that we could use part of that for animal control? And again, I don't know the numbers right now. I don't want to talk off the cuff that yes, I can do this and this, but it's something we could at least explore, given the interest of the folks of not having it somewhere else and the seemingly willingness of the folks, the neighbors of the existing property seem to be okay with it. I would offer that I'm happy to go look at that animal control again and come back with cost estimates of what would it take to build a new animal control. What would it take to pave those roads?
I know we're limited on land. What is the time limit on that piece of property? It's been covered now for 30 years. Is it 40 years? Is it 50 years? Is it 35 years? Is it something that in the near future we could expand on, even if we just put the roads and that type of on the landfill? Is there a time limit when we can use that?
So, yes. The short answer is yes. You're still within what's known as the long-term care period. So that facility is still governed by the Florida Department of Environmental Protection rules. That typically by statute ends at 30 years, or at which time the state decides to release you from that period. So you're still within that clock, as it were, but you're nearing the end. But probably more importantly than the regulatory issues there are the structural issues. If you recall last meeting, I said that while you can build things, structures, pavement, on top of old landfills, they, without significant geotechnical effort, they tend to crack and break just because of the differential settlement of the material that's decaying at different rates. It doesn't, like normal ground, goes all together generally unless you have a sinkhole. But what you'll see is if you try to build on it, it'll typically crack. So it's not out of the question, but it increases the cost.
Well, I was just wondering if you could move. I would assume if you could build the site on the land you've got, that could be used for traffic, which would not be would not have as big as impact as building a building on top of it.
If we can structurally design it so the road will maintain itself. Another concept is if we can squeeze the current size building into the existing site footprint, in 20 years, when you need a bigger space, you hypothetically can excavate parts of the old landfill and move them. Now that comes with a cost, obviously. I've seen Marion County do that. I've seen Escambia County do that. Now their issues were mostly with contamination. They were trying to eliminate a contamination issue. And Putnam County has also moved solid waste previously disposed. So it is doable. So my point being is that 20 years from now, it might be economically viable for you to cut a swath out of that landfill and reshape it. You don't have to haul it off. You just reconfigure it and recover it. There's a cost, but you can recover land and not have to build on it necessarily.
Is there more room right now where the current facility is or where the animal control?
The animal control parcel is a little bit wider than the existing parcel.
Okay.
Don't quote me on how much, but it is wider. I was able to get, the existing facility doesn't allow me enough turn radius for a full 18-wheeler effectively without having to back in and out. And the animal control parcel does. I can loop it around. It's a much more efficient, safe design.
But like Commissioner Martin said, or, couldn't we, could that semi typically, if we built pavement or whatever, just go on on the part that's,
I have a phone call slated for tomorrow
Other
morning
part.
with the Department of Environmental Protection, and I can just pose that question.
if we can use that just for our semis to drive on.
Just for, non-building.
Non-building, just driveways.
It can't be stormwater, I can tell you that,
Yeah.
because the stormwater
Right.
infiltrates down. But I can ask about the.
And my next question, didn't mean to cut you off. If before we can build on it, we would have to build a new animal control because we would have nothing to do with the animals once we tore it down. Before we can tear it down, we have to build a new facility. Is that correct?
I
mean, I would assume you've got to have
Yeah.
something to do with the animals, so.
Yes, sir.
And I'm thinking a great spot for that is if you've got that old piece, but you can't tear it down until you get the dump going, so that's not gonna be a viable piece of property for that either.
Could I pose an alternative? Is there a reason we couldn't utilize the animal control on the front side of that property and put everything on the back, utilizing a crossover from the solid waste landfill?
Mr. Clerk, I'll look at that again. It gets very tight. And partly because of queuing, I need my scale, the shape and the location of my trucks and my scale relative to my train. It's a little bit of a puzzle.
Sure.
I'm happy to look at it. We actually looked at utilizing the animal control for the scale house and administrative components, and just where it's configured is bad for what I'm trying to do. So I will look at that.
Where we could reuse,
Keep animal control where it
facilities,
is and
yeah.
keep everything else in the back. I'll try, but I doubt it. How about that?
yeah, the animal control building, as I looked at the property appraiser's website, was 4,000 something square feet.
Pretty big.
And it's about 600 or 700 of it's actually climate controlled. The
Correct.
rest is kind of like a kennel.
Yes, correct.
So I know we want to build a facility that's good for animals, but I think we can do that. And so I'm looking to you to help us with the estimates and,
I can do that.
the other thought is, I think on the south end of the landfill, isn't there a spot you could drive?
There's a portion on the south that is sort of an internal access road. I believe the county uses it now from time to time. It's also got a pipe that connects the stormwater from one side of the landfill down to the pond over there. It's adjacent to it.
So it's possible we could, if we build on that site, you could drive around.
Absolutely. Oh,
And
absolutely.
then you could even use the current site
Absolutely.
for other, even solid waste kind of things.
You sure could. Yes, sir. Absolutely.
So the other point, a question I wanted to ask is, what I understand is, we don't have to make a decision tonight. We can,
No, I've spoken to the state, and they understand the situation we're in. They don't want us to rush to judgment, but the clock is ticking, is what they essentially told me. I think if we can, when I speak to them tomorrow and I offer up that, you have 4 sites that you have looked at, or most recently, there's been many more, but now we're revisiting that site. I think they'll give us a few weeks to take a look
And
at
then
that.
find out if we can drive on.
I will do that, yes, ma'am.
And, if we did put it somewhere else, there's still going to be people that's going to be using that road because that's where, you take your household garbage.
Yes,
That
ma'am.
part won't.
Right, it won't
So-
be 100% elimination.
That's what I'm
Yes, ma'am.
saying, so, and, there is back roads, maybe, if we did choose that we could maybe start off just, chip and sealing it, or.
Yeah, you could do probably need a couple rounds of chip and seal
Mhm.
from the weight of what we're
Yeah.
talking about, but yes, ma'am, that's
Okay,
that's possible.
look at,
But again, it's a big ball of wax we're talking about for me to look at. I've got permitting of the roads, I've got animal control costs. It's gonna take me a few weeks, if you don't mind, to really get you what you're asking for. It's not simple.
so our next board meeting is September the 9th, I think?
10th.
10th, I'm sorry, 10th. So,
Try to do it by then.
okay,
If you'll give me the latitude to let you know in a week, how about that?
okay.
and I just have just the curve on 340, that bothers me.
I understand,
And That's
yeah.
something that concerns me.
I did go out and look at the 340
I
side
did.
again,
I went
and
today.
I actually backed into the ditch on that road.
I did too.
You actually got a lot of sight. You can see, it looks like you can see at least 2 or 3 football fields down either side. So I don't know that the curve is a big deal, but listening to you today, I'm I'm very interested in looking at the current site if that will work, because it seems to be the most economical. It will be something that we're gonna get less feedback from the community. Nobody wants it in their backyard. Everybody wants one. They just don't want it in their backyard. And I can understand that to an extent. It's not, I don't think it's nearly as bad as we've been people making it out. But they don't want it, and I can understand that.
Yes, sir.
So I like the idea of looking back at the current site. That might be the way to go. Certainly be the cheapest way to go.
Well, that was the original plan of it.
Yeah.
It was, and in fact, point of order, we did the survey of that site, if you recall, which would be a sunk cost if we don't go with that site. So that's, I don't know the number, but it was tens of thousands of dollars to do the topographic survey. So we have a
So
savings.
that's already been done.
Already been done, yeah, that's a cost spent, so.
You mentioned the methane gas, would that be a problem?
Now, we wouldn't build a structure on top of the landfill. And we're not allowed to have a livable working structure in there without a methane system that keeps that from going up into it. But where we are, no, sir, it's not a concern.
I think we still should address the school problem. And I think if you pick an alternative route, how much would it cost to do an alternative route? Those are two factors that would depend on whether you use the old site or not.
If I may, cost and timing, because I'm going to have to get permits with DOT. Mostly, I know they're county roads, but there'll be probably environmental resource permits if I'm creating a now impervious surface along those roads. I don't know if there are swales, culvert. I don't know what that looks like, but I can't do something that's going to flood the neighbors along that road. So I'm going to have to look at all of that.
It's pretty flat level roads. It's not a.
Is partial C wrong on here?
In terms of the size, the
The
drawing,
number, partial number?
it could be. And I apologize, I was rushing to get on this. The parcel map is correct, how about that? If the number is incorrect on there, I apologize.
Yeah. Okay, any other comments from the board before we ask for public?
I have one for Mr. Lane. If you took the 63 acres and you took 23 and the county bought it, okay, the other 40 acres, would it be allowed to split again? Isn't there a one-time split on that 63 acres? Would he take the 40 acres? Could he split it again?
Well, I'm not,
So I think he's talking about part C, or, yeah, parcel C.
Partial C. The 63
The
acres.
63 acre parcel.
if you split any parcel in a size that's larger than 20 acres, it doesn't count in the subdivision regulations. So if you keep all the splits more than 20 acres, the subdivision regulations don't apply. So that one-time split of the property wouldn't be applicable. If you split it less than 20 acres, then it counts.
Okay. I didn't know exactly how that worked. I knew there was an issue with splitting it again, but I didn't know how the acreage worked.
Split off 21 acres, it doesn't count. That's a separate parcel. Split 19 acres, you got your one-time split, you've wiped out the rest of the property. Then you got to go and have a subdivision done, a minor plat or a large plat.
Good?
Okay,
I'll sit down unless you have any more questions for me.
we're gonna
Sounds like
take,
you got a lot to do.
I just had one thing just to add, just food for thought. The existing option on the 340 property, we need to give them an answer before September the 28th. An answer in writing that we deemed it not to be suitable in order to get your deposit back. It's a $5,000 deposit. If you don't and let that expire, then of course they get to keep your deposit.
okay, so if we meet September the 10th, we'll hopefully
That's right.
be a
We
little
keep this
closer.
open for now, but I just want to let you know
Yes, sir.
there's a
No, I
timing
appreciate it.
issue involved.
Appreciate the reminder.
Technically, we have 2 meetings between now and then,
Okay.
so.
Well, if it's sooner, we could get Mr. Locklear to really work quicker.
Overtime.
So I have 3 cards for folks that wanted to speak, and I think maybe it's related to this subject. So I'll ask, is it Cheryl Holly? Miss Holly, yeah. You were here last time, I remember. That's okay, come on.
I want to say thank you for spelling out the acronyms so we know what items are on the agenda. So thank you for that. thank you for reconsidering the current location. Since we're already going to be spending money for the animal control in 5 years, that'd be a double benefit to do it now and upgrade it so the animals are inside versus outside the pens. I just want to say thank you for doing that. I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you for your input and being here.
Todd,
I
can
have-
we adjust the volume on the microphone there? I could barely hear that.
Yeah, I have Mr. Buckner, Ben Buckner.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. My name is Ben Buckner. I'm an affected party to two of these properties. Proposals A and B are both within a mile of my residence. I'm the one that sent the email to the Commissioners with the attachment, about 5 or 6 pages, on behalf of Mr. Gladys, some of the other property owners. I'd like to submit that for the record tonight. I made a copy for you guys. When I'm done. I'm not going to speak in favor of the proposal. I've talked to 2 of the commissioners and I told them both that. I'm not going to speak in favor of one, but I am going to speak in opposition to one. Been here since 1985 in this area. My wife's been in this area since 1972. We bought and built on our retirement land in 2018. We moved to what we call God's country, and I know a lot of y'all do too. Where the majority of the folks believe the same things and the same values that we do. And that's why we're here. We've been around this area for a long time. The intersection of State Road 47 and 340, we all know it's a highly used road. And I hate to disagree with the engineers, but I will on a couple things. The 340 traffic count in 2025 FDOT study was 2,000. That's right. The 47 traffic count is 2,600. That makes that intersection 4,600 at that intersection daily. That traffic study was done before the Dollar General was installed and built. So there's been additional traffic because of that. Like I said, we moved to God's country, and that's what we call it, my wife and I. And, nothing says welcome to God's country like a solid waste transfer facility on one of your main intersections. Nothing says that. And that is with some sarcasm. And y'all know that. I've heard several instances where this was talked about being an invisible site, and I think it should be invisible, best of your ability. One thing, I know my time's running out, and I've got quite a few things I wanted to say, and I hope to get it in 3 minutes, but I won't. If you look at that slide that's up there, when you look at it says the column that says population within 1 mile radius, that's not population. That is not population. Those are parcels, homesteaded parcels only. I heard a couple of commissioners talk about that last week. I didn't come to the meeting, but I watched it Tuesday morning, when it became available Tuesday. The parcels that are, or the population numbers that are up there are incorrect. The U.S. Census says Gilchrist County has 2.53 people per homesteaded house, or per household. Well, if you only count the homestead, those numbers should read, if you'll bear with me just a moment. So on A, those numbers should be 127 parcels, 63 are homesteaded, 64 are not homesteaded. On parcel B, proposal B, site B, and these are all within 1 mile, by the way. 183 parcels, 105 are homesteaded, 78 are not. On proposal C, 1 mile, there's 255 parcels, 125 are homesteaded, and 130 are not. Item D, or proposal D, 1 mile, 251 parcels, 98 are homesteaded, and 153 are not. And I know it's off the table, but just in comparison from the 232 property from 2 weeks ago, 1 mile, there was 199 parcels, 90 were homesteaded and 109 were not. So, you know, we want to make it invisible. I'm not a proponent of any site. I'm opposed to one site. I'm just one person. But there's, obviously, when you look at those numbers I mentioned to you and I sent you in that email, which is the same information I'm giving you tonight. If you look at that and you're trying to make it invisible, State Road 47 and 340 has zero, except on the back side, the south side, any buffer. None whatsoever. So any property that's butted up to that parcel, which, by the way, there are 5 homesteaded properties that touch 47 and 340 properties. So I'm just asking, you know, I appreciate the time. I don't envy you, tough decision. But I will tell you, I can't think of a worse place to put it, in all honesty. And I've got 2 of them that affect me, you know, A and B. But I can't think of a worse place that says, welcome to God's country than State Road 47 and 340.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Buckner.
Thank you.
Yeah. And we'll take a look at the numbers and we'll adjust as we need to. And I appreciate you providing that extra information.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. All right, next I have Mr. Carroll. Yes, sir. Welcome.
Thank you. With all respect, I hear you talk about Gilchrist County looking for a site for several years. But the first we heard about this was about 2 weeks ago. It was Site A, which is adjacent to our property, our 80 acres out there.
Mr. Carroll, can I interrupt you just a moment? We have a letter from your attorney that we'd like to distribute to the board and make it a part of the record. Is that okay?
Okay, that'll be fine. Sure.
Okay, from Mr.
talk?
Scott Walker, Senator.
Can I keep talking?
Yes, sir. I didn't mean to cut you off. I just wanted, we had it over here.
No,
We
that's
were going to
fine. That's
present
fine.
it, but since you're up and it's the same
Thank
property.
you. We didn't quite know what they were talking about when they said a garbage transfer station. So we got in the truck and drove down to Bell just to see what the one there looks like. And we drove in there and looked around a little bit, and this fellow comes out and kind of asked us who we were, and we struck up a conversation. And it's Bobby Rush, and he kind of showed us around down there, and no question, he does a good job of that. That's a well-run place. He made the comment that if you have a septic tank, you're probably polluting the environment more than they are, and that may be pretty close to the truth. But it's well-run, and I can understand the neighbors around there saying that they really have no objection to it. But that isn't what you're talking about. This is a huge building. This is a monstrosity, if you will. There's no way this building can be camouflaged unless you want to plant redwood trees out there for the next 1,000 years. It's always going to be there. And what you're talking about is something that's big enough to promote and allow and encourage increased traffic, increased use. You're talking about something that will be there 20 or 30 years from now. And I think at that point, the use is going, which is what it's designed for. It's being designed for the future. And the use of that is going to be tremendous. The traffic on 340 will go through the roof, including truck traffic. You know, you've got all this money. And I think if you could make it stay where it is, you can make some good arguments about that. But the people around that might be able to make the same argument that I'm making. That 20 years from now, it may be big. It seems to me like if that could be, pardon me for being presumptuous here. I know you thought about this. But if it's going to be a huge industrial site for all practical purposes, put it somewhere where it is invisible. Find 40 or 50 or 60 or 80 acres, and put it where it can, where the traffic can be accommodated. Put it off 47 somewhere. Okay, it's going to cost you a little more money to put in the state-approved turning lane, but you've got the money. Go ahead and put it somewhere. If you have to have one that size, put it somewhere where it will be allowed to grow for 20 or 30 years. I think someone talked about the legacy that we can leave our children for the future. And I think 340 is a potentially beautiful highway. It's got some issues, but it's a pretty road right now. And I think if it can be protected, if we can leave a legacy of natural beauty, that would be something that most of us should consider ourselves proud of.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Carroll. Appreciate your input. So I don't have any other speaker cards.
Mr. Chairman, if you don't have any other speakers, did the county commissioners all receive a letter?
Someone here wanted to speak
You
real
got,
quick.
here's a card.
August the 9th from Mr. Gladish in opposition to the 47 and 340 intersection.
Right, okay.
We need to have that entered into the record then.
Yes, sir.
Okay?
Okay, I do have a card here. Stephanie Barron. Yes, ma'am.
This lady had her hand up.
All right, yeah, we'll come back.
I'm Stephanie Barron. Can you pull up parcel C again?
Miss Stephanie, could you pull the mic down?
Yes, sir. I just want to clarify, parcel C is actually in fact the wrong side of Northwest 52nd Place. It's the north side of 52nd Place, which is the 23 acres that separates the 63. So there's a 40 on one side and a 23 on the other. The 23 acres is indeed flat, and it touches where the county already gets the lime rock for the lime rock roads. It is a half-mile long, and the traffic count is also wrong.
Okay, so it's just on the north side of there,
Right.
not the south side. Okay. Same general area, but the
Yeah.
wrong parcel.
And you have the traffic count as 2,000 down Northwest 52nd Place. It is not 2,000. The road just south of that is 2,000, which is on the voting precinct place. So that one was all wrong.
Okay, so it's still west or east of the Church of God, correct?
It is still east of the Church of God and north of
North.
Northwest 52nd
Okay.
Place. It
North-
is already cut out, 23 acres flat, touches the Lime Rock pit where the county already buys dirt.
Isn't that the north end on that picture we're looking at?
Yes,
North
just
is
across the road there would be the property. You can't.
Caitlin, go down to the
From
next slide,
bottom
please.
roads Just to the,
Caitlin, can you go to
north
the
of
next
red
slide, please?
square there. Yeah.
So it's the north piece there above the blue.
If you see where option C is, if you read directly to the left, it's right there. It touches where you see the green pivot. So it also impacts less people than anything, and it is indeed hidden. Not that I'm in favor of it. I feel like we should be faithful with what we have and continue to make things better. But that is
Okay.
all wrong.
Okay, we'll take a look at it and we'll correct it.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Make sure. Thank you, Stephanie. Yes, ma'am, or yes, sir. You can just state your name when you come up, if you want. Yeah.
Mark Tallman. We live by the current site, and we thought that it was decided pretty much to move it, so I wasn't going to say anything. That's why I wasn't. But if we don't move it, aren't we live right at the end of the road there. If we don't move it, but we upgrade, aren't we throwing good money after bad? Because eventually, isn't it going to need to be moved?
So we're thinking we've got a parcel on the east side of the old landfill where the current site is, and then on the west side is where animal control is. We would evaluate whether it makes sense to replace the animal control and build it on the west side of the old landfill.
Okay, what about the traffic? That's, The traffic is something that we deal with for sure.
Right.
And then the school
Yeah.
being there, I thought that was,
So all
One
of
of the
us have
biggest
discussed some concern about the school, and I know, talking to Mr. Rush, they already try to not hit the peak time of the school, but there might be something else we can do related to that, and we might be able to redirect around
There's
another
you can
way.
turn left at Roysters and go to the next road and cut down, and that would cut down from it going in front of the school.
what about as the population continues to grow? Is that not?
Well, so I think in 10, 15 years, you're going to have to look at maybe another site somewhere, particularly in the south end. I don't know. It might be we have technology where we go straight from the remote sites to Union County. There's all kind of possibilities. We're just talking about, I mean, I don't know what the lifespan of what we're proposing, but things could change in 10, 15 years for sure. And most likely a future board is going to have to make some hard decisions again about how to handle all this.
Okay. And one thing, I don't know if it's because we're on the transfer station's on this road, but I do have to get a hold of the commission or the road department quite often just to do cleanup. That's just a thought.
Yes, sir, and so we want to continue to try to do our best to clean that area up. I've had some of your neighbors there call me in. Usually, we've got inmate crews that come and help us clean up, and so I think we'll continue to work to do that.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your input. All right. Anybody else at this point? We're gonna, what about the board? What do you think? You want to have Mr. Locklear evaluate the animal control site, and we continue to look at these other sites and come back?
If we have time to do that, and I would certainly take a look at it, but there are some issues, just like he said. The school would be one of them. And I've even heard people mention an overpass so the students could go over to the FFA building without walking across the road. That's a possibility. The other big cost, I think, would be is if we choose another route, it's expensive to pave a road. Chip and seal, to me, ain't going to hold up on semi trucks and stuff like that. It's probably going to have to be hot mix asphalt. So, I mean, those are options to look at. I'm definitely willing to look at them. If we can buy a little time, he indicated we might could do that. I would certainly look at every option we have, every opportunity we have to look at something different. I'm all for it.
All right. Any other?
I wish we could come into more recycling. We throw a lot of garbage away. If you go to the dump, you look at recyclable wood, you look at recyclable limbs, you look at cardboard, you look at paper, you look at. I was telling somebody the other day, when I grew up, my mama didn't throw a tin can away. She put grease or something in it. She didn't throw away a jar. She reused it. Well, we don't do that anymore. She used a dish towel. She didn't use paper towels. We had plates to eat off. Now we eat off of paper plates. So everything we do, we throw away. I mean, we hardly use. My household, we create 2 to 3 bags of garbage a week, and there's not but 3 of us. And we don't eat a lot of meals at home, big meals like we used to. But
When I was a kid, we burned all our trash.
right,
But
we burn a lot of trash, yeah. But I think we still got society in a whole, not just Gilchrist County, but society in a whole has got to do more recycling or reevaluation on how much garbage we create and how much garbage we haul off. Because a lot of it, to me, could be reusable. I know it's costly. Well, we used to collect glass. We don't do that anymore because it costs more to collect it and get rid of it than it does. It pays off, but there's got to be some ways to correct things and make it easier and not have so much garbage.
I just like to comment. I mean, I've always believed in the idea of recycling, but the challenge in it is when it costs you more than
I know
than what your end result is. And like when we are in a position where we don't have enough money to do what we're doing, to think, well, let's figure out a more expensive way to do it. I just think that's the challenge, is that, outside of increasing the costs, if it was cheaper for us to recycle, I think we would be doing it. you know, and
Oh,
I'm
I
with
would
you.
say
I think it's terrible, the point that we've gotten in the society where, you know, I mean, you think about refrigerators. I mean, whenever I was young, you had the green refrigerators that lasted a lifetime.
50 years.
Yeah, 50 years, and, you know, now you're good to get a 5-year
That's right.
out of a decent
And where does
fridge.
it wind up?
And it ends up
In the
being
landfill.
being trashed. Well, those are metal, so some of them are anyway. So you might, but again, I mean, the challenge in recycling plastics and things like that is it costs you way more to do that. And, you know, unfortunately, we don't have unlimited resources in solid waste. And, you know, it's more of a challenge of trying to figure out how do we manage the waste that we have within the amount of funds that we have. And so while I appreciate the idea of recycling, I mean, I do a lot of recycling at my house, you know.
Yeah.
I get plastic stuff and
Sure.
I recycle those items, you know, but the best I can. But the problem is that to send that to the or not to the landfill, but the transfer site, and now we have to separate all of that, that's manpower.
Oh, I know.
You know, what
I'm
is
just
manpower?
hoping-
Manpower is the most expensive item in our budget.
I'm just hoping that technology will change to the point.
I would agree with that.
To where they can dissolve some of this stuff, reuse this kind of stuff. I'm just hoping technology would go down that road.
Well, we've got,
So we can do stuff like that.
our next generations, we've got some very intelligent young people, and so we're counting on them to come up with ideas and new
Yes.
technology, and I hope in the next 10, 15 years, we're gonna have
I do
some
too.
of that.
I do too.
So,
Agreed.
Because it's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. It's like traffic. Everybody talks about traffic. I used to pull out my driveway. I usually didn't even have to look either way. I just pulled out. Now I have to wait on 10 cars. I get out to 47, I got to wait on 15. So the traffic is not going away. It's going to increase. When we built that marathon, I talked to Mr. Gladys. We built that marathon out there. Traffic count was 2,000. 4,600 now. That's in 5 years, 6 years. So it has increased. It's going to get worse and worse. And now we got a new business coming in right there on that corner after the Dollar General's open, so we're going to have some more traffic. So it's just things to think about, to look into.
Yep, we've all been here most of our lives.
Somebody has their hand raised.
And, yes, ma'am, just a minute. And we've seen changes. I know 1980, we had about 5,000 people. We got 20,000 plus all the visitors, millions of visitors come here every year. It's going to continue to increase, as we all know, and it's going to be a challenge that once we get a facility built, it'll continue to be a challenge. So yes, ma'am, come on.
And it's our job to take care of the solid waste.
Right.
I'm Hillary Tolman, and can make it quick, but, so you're talking about increasing, and we see it too, you know, we used to just go to the end of the road and we could turn left or right, now we sit and wait. So we're at the very end, and I think that does need to be taken into consideration, the growth, and the fact also, people have mentioned it needs to be invisible. Well, this is very visible. It's right there with little farm pieces all around. A lot of older people live around, and so, you know, people are just content to stay at home. But that's why we're here, because we wanted to voice our opinion too, because it's at the end of a dead end, and you gotta pass the schools, and we hardly even walk the road with our dogs because it's just too much traffic. But, and my husband picks up garbage all the time because it flies out of the vehicles. I don't think people are purposely doing it, but it flies out. So anyway, just a thought that it is visible where it is, and also for the growth, because we are going to see this area grow continually. And so it seems like at the end of this little, you know, road past the school, seems like might want to reconsider. So that's all.
Thank you for your input. We appreciate it. All right, so at this point, we're going to take this up at our next meeting. If Mr. Locklear can put things together, and evaluation and numbers and estimates and all that. I think we're down on our agenda. Commissioner reports.
Public participation.
Nothing about Commissioner?
They did have started construction on the the corner there where the old store used to be, the food trucks and the ice machine that we approved.
Okay.
They have started, they've got the lot cleaned off. They've started construction on that, so that's going to be another business there, coming into there. Really need to work on a traffic light. I know DOT is probably not in favor of it, but there's getting to be so much traffic there, a traffic light would be considered, but that's all I have.
Commissioner Langford, I had somebody mention about a traffic light also. I don't know if that's something we want to direct the state to look at again.
Well, I thought I would get with DOT and Jordan Green and see what the possibilities are. We've tried it before. Their criteria I don't agree with because they say hadn't been enough enough deaths there to justify a lot, and I don't know why they use that as criteria. But with the increased traffic, the increased business, the Dollar General, the Marathon, the other store, the numbers are just going through the roof. So it might be justifiable now. It might not have been 5 years ago, but it might be now. So
What about if the board is, I mean, I understand you could talk to them, but we could write a letter to
Yep.
the board.
We can, and we may need to do that.
We all agree that we write something to DOT. Ms. Moore, you help
Have them
us?
look at that again.
Yeah. Just have them look at it and see.
Okay. All right, Mr. Martin.
Yeah, I had, went out on the road, the Bronson Highway, and they have started work on that. I know they replaced all the culverts, and there's still some work that may need to be done there that we talked about earlier. But they have started doing the work out there and paving, so that's being going. And last week I had had a young lady come and talk to me, Miss Donna Lee, talked to me about how we could get kids involved with the county commissioner meetings. And I thought, what would be a great way to get young people involved in what's going on if we invited a student to come in and do the pledge every meeting. You could pick one you could get them from the FFA and the FBLA and the ROTC, and just each meeting, if we had a young person come in and let us in pledge, it would be a chance for not only the kid to see what's going on, their parents to come in and see what's going on, because the parents are going to come if their kid's up here doing something, and it would be a chance to get them involved. And I also even mentioned, and could a kid do the prayer? And that way you get 2 kids involved in every meeting that we've got, and you get 2 families involved. And when I talked to Miss Lee, I thought it was a great idea, and she said she would even help to arrange for the kids to be here. She would get with the schools and see if in advance she couldn't get kids lined up. So I wanted it to be something y'all thought about. I don't know if we really need to say yes tonight, but I think it's something we want to look at real quick and come up with a decision. I think it'd be a great opportunity to get students and other families involved in what's going on. And each week we would have someone that could do the pledge, and it wouldn't be on us each time. And if you say you got someone from FCA wants to come in and do a prayer, or even another student that would be willing to pray out loud in front. I mean, I learned to pray when I was in church, because the kids took up the offering. And when we took up offering, we had to pray. And it was the first time I prayed in public, and it kind of scary when you're about 11 or 12 years old, and I think it would be a great opportunity if kids want to do that.
They pray at the football games.
Yeah, I know they do, and so I know we got students that would be willing to do it, and Miss Donna Lee said she would help lead it up, and I would help her if she needed any help in getting kids involved. So what do y'all?
I think that's a great idea.
Good.
I think it's a wonderful idea.
Everybody agrees.
Okay, is that something we need to talk about as on a regular meeting and make it a motion, or is that just something we have agreed upon that we can start working on?
Well, the chairman normally designates who's going to say the pledge and the prayer. If you want to have the students come up, he could designate those students as they appear. They might not be at every meeting, is what I'm trying to say.
Well, what I'm saying, if we have a meeting and a kid doesn't show up, there's not anyone up here right now that can't jump in and say the prayer or lead in the pledge, but it would give an opportunity for kids to see what's going on in local government and come to a meeting. And they may stick around and say, hey, you know what? I'm thinking 15 years or 10 years, I want to run for county commissioner, or I want to be the attorney, or I want to be the county manager, or I'd like to work as you know, the minute takers and all that type of stuff, so, if y'all are willing.
So I'm gonna appoint you as our lead, committee,
There you
and
go.
you
There
work
you go.
with Miss Lee.
Miss Lee, we'll be working on
Yeah,
this.
all right.
Are we ready to start right away, or we need we need someone at our next meeting, or was our next meeting is what, the 10th?
Bring them on.
Yeah, y'all get together and y'all discuss it and y'all
All right,
figure it out.
we'll talk.
Yep.
All right.
What else do you have? Mr.
That is it, other than, put a lot of prayer and a lot of thought into this landfill as I do all major decisions. And 4 years ago, you elected me to make tough decisions. And I want you to know I'm ready to make decisions when we get to that point. I'm not backing down from any of it. I'm not pushing it along because I want to push it along. I just want to make sure we make the right decision when we make it. And I appreciate everybody coming with your concerns and your and your thoughts on what we should and shouldn't do. And just trust me, we're not rushing into this to make a bad decision. We're trying to make the best decision for the county and for the residents and for the future of what's going on. So I just wanted everybody to know I appreciate your telephone calls and your concerns about it.
Yep.
All right.
Okay. Mr. Thomas?
I'm good.
You're good? Just kind of related to what Mr. Martin said, it's a lot easier to do nothing than it is to try to make progress. And this is one example. I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, we built a new jail. It hadn't been done in 50 years. We paved roads, repaved roads, we built a new extension office. All those things, it would have been easier not to go after grant money and do those things to make improvements, to do things that are better for our young people, or the next generation. They're not easy things to do. And I was talking to somebody the other day that had some comments. I said, I think we should just put this off and let the next board figure this out. And they said, well, I don't know if that's a good idea or not. Because they're hard decisions, but our motivation is how can we help the county be as efficient as we can be, and also think about, this discussion on the solid waste transfer, it started 4 or 5 years ago. It wasn't necessarily the site, but it started, and we're going to have to do something. And that's the way all these things start. And so I appreciate all of you being here. Those that have left early, we appreciate you being here. Those that are watching, anytime you've got suggestions or input, we appreciate that. We're trying to do our best, and we're going to make mistakes. We're not always going to do everything right, for sure, just like none of us are perfect. But we do want the best for Gilchrist County, and so I'm going to stop there. And we do have one more spot for public participation. Anybody? Yes, sir. Come on up.
This is just for the record, what I mentioned. In
Yes, sir.
my presentation, I heard county manager ask for, or county attorney.
To the clerk.
Thank you, sir.
What are you presenting for the record, just so we'll have it in the minute?
Yeah, that was the 5-page document that I emailed to everybody, and Mr. Thomas, I asked Mr. Crosby when I emailed it, if he would put a copy and give that.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Chairman, I wrote out on 339 too. They have started on it, but I'd really like to see Mr. Lovett addressed as quick as possible. I think we got some answers for him, talking with Rodney. I think we got some answers for him, and maybe he can get with him tomorrow, or Locklear, or somebody can get with him tomorrow and get this issue resolved before it goes any longer.
I agree too.
It's been an issue for
Once
them
you
for a
pave
while
it, then
now.
you gotta dig it all up if you're gonna do.
If you're gonna do something different, now's the
Yeah.
We
time
need
to
to
do
get
it.
it fixed and
Yes, so
fix
Ms.
it
Moore,
right.
you'll help organize that? Yes?
I will.
Okay. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Jim Ramos, how many of you remember when by Paw Paul's, that site there, we used to have, there was a rule, and it went for about a couple of years, you could dump one trash bag, but you needed to recycle. And the one trash bag that if you had another one, it cost you $1 to throw it away. Do you remember that?
I do.
So that might interest some people who don't want to recycle, maybe recycle. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Bobby Rush, Solid Waste Department. Yeah, the deal on recycling, there is plenty of times that when you go out there to Southeast and you drive a Class B truck and you put a man in that truck, 7 miles to the gallon, you drive to that center, get a box of plastic, bring it back to solid waste, dump it, have 2 or 3 people go to it, run it over, crush it, scoop it up with a loader, put it into another container, pack it down with the apprentice after you track it over. That's another man driving the apprentice tracking it over. You get done with that, take it back out to Southeast, go to Northeast, pick up that container, bring it back at 7 miles to the gallon. You do that again, that whole process, dump one in Bell, do that again with all those people. And then after you get done doing that, you do it again for another week. And then after that second week, then you get that and tarp that big container down, take it all the way to Lottsville County, and it's worth $68. And when you do that manpower and your diesel, not counting wear and tear on your vehicle, I've done it and it's equaled up to about $800. So we can take that $800 and turn it into $68 as much as y'all like. But you only have to do it one time on my dime, you know, so the more recycling might not be the answer that you guys are looking for. So,
No, I'm not talking about today's world. I know what it costs to
Yeah,
recycle plastic and glass, and I'm talking about in the future. I would hope that the world would wake up and realize we need to start recycling more.
Right.
Not just Gilchrist County, but worldwide, everybody needs to recycle more.
Yeah, and we had those recycle trucks that were going around.
I remember
And
that.
it's just,
We used to take glass, and we don't do it anymore.
That's right. And, you know, another thing, we was talking about the old landfill. I believe it's already 100% closed out. And, but the issues with those big trucks, and we have an engineer that might be able to give more light on that. But, you know, I think it's topped with a rubber mat of some sort, and then you got some of that soil. And when it rains on that, it just turns to muck.
Yeah.
It takes days for that water to run off of the top of that plastic liner through those concrete weeps. And I don't see that ever being anything to where you'll be driving 80,000-pound trucks on there.
Right.
And another food for thought too, as I was listening, talking about building a road around the backside of the school, like y'all were talking about the dirt roads. I think 90% of the people that is coming to the dump is going to take the straight shot. I don't think any of them is going to say, hey, let's go the long way around today. And plus, when you come to the T on the dirt road and you have to make them turns with that big truck, I mean, you're going to have to take right away from property owners to be able to make those wide turns. And I don't see that being viable. But at the same time, any day of the week, come up there and look at my stack of tickets. This morning I looked, and before 8:30, there were 2 customers. 2 customers across the scale. Yeah. It was 9:30 by the time we got our front boxes dumped and everything ready to go to get a truck out. You know, we're not the whole big thing about what's going on with the school. I don't see that being an issue. You know, I really don't. And you know, so I think
Most people have learned to not go by the school between 7:30 and 8:30 in the morning, and between 2:30 and 3:30 in the afternoon.
Unless they're dropping their kids off and they're taking the trash down the solid waste and dropping it off.
Right, and I know you don't send big trucks down the road at that time, and now Bell Elementary's moved most of their traffic to the back side of the school, and they're not in front anymore.
All this school traffic got brought up was when the school itself, all their traffic would come down that road, 10th Street, and then they would sit in the lane and not move off. They would sit in the lane, and then you had traffic coming this way from letting out, and people would try to pass around because they just sat in the road. Now everybody has got off the road and they're in the grass. And so it's not the big issue that it was 4 years ago.
Right.
You know, I mean, a lot of that seems to be fixed.
Thank you, Bobby. We appreciate your input, all your work. Yes, ma'am.
I like the idea of the kid advisory board, maybe a little bit more involvement. And maybe we should do one with adults as well from the community. That way we can help you out. Also, if you're only having, you're open 6 days and it's 6 trucks a week, that's only 1 truck a day. And I get my stuff picked up. So there's a lot of people in the community that do both. You know, I take the big stuff that I found in my yard and drop it off. But I also have the home service that picks it up. But my other concern is flock cameras. I don't like them here. I don't like us policing, and I don't like that other people can get into the database, which is happening quite a bit. A lot of officers are getting arrested, spying on exes and stuff like that. So maybe we could get into that maybe at another time. I know it's a grant, but I think we pick up some of the bill on that. So that's my opinion. I don't like the flock cameras. I know it helps out the sheriff's office, but it's just too much invasion in the privacy since we moved up here.
My understanding is the sheriff has suspended the use of those temporarily and evaluating policies, and so we'll at some point maybe get him to come back and talk about it.
All right,
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Hello. One thing I want to say regarding the waste.
Can we get your name?
Oh, Jenny Buckner. When you're looking at all these different sites, please consider how close homes are to that property line. Because I can tell you at 340 and 47, you will literally be in people's backyard, within feet of backyards. And the property value will plummet, and that is a fact. I don't know, I've seen stuff that said, oh, it doesn't hurt it. Yes, it does. And when people move out here to Gilchrist County to get away from everything in Alachua County, they build their homes that they want to live in until they go see the Lord. You know, they put everything into their money, into their home, every ounce that they have. Look at how close those homes are to that property line, because there's quite a few right there at that corner, not to mention the traffic. All the people that come in the springs during the summer months. That traffic gets so backed up on 340. And now with the Dollar General there, it gets even more crowded because people from the springs are coming there to get gas. They're coming there to, get groceries at the Dollar General. So please think of that. I honestly think the best thing is to redo the current site. You've got the money, you've got the grant. That would be the best thing that there is. Thank you.
Thank you for your input. All right. We appreciate everybody's input. Looks like that's everybody, and I think that's all of our business agenda. So we
adjourn.
have a motion. Have a second. Second. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.